Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune, excuse me, for the 24th day of March 2020. Well, I hope everybody's doing okay. We are so far. Going to stay hunkered down. Our governor has now issued a stay-at-home order for anything that isn't an emergency or to go out and get food or what have you, or to go to a doctor or something. So we're going to be staying home like we have. We started our self quarantine a while back. So we kind of started this back when we first heard about it. Back in December we heard about it then, and as more information came out, it was pretty clear that this was going to be pretty viral. That it was going to be virulent, and it was going to spread. And so we started started gathering supplies back then, a little bit here and there, and just, buying an extra of something, while we were out. Not really, I don't know, it was probably more subconscious than anything else, but so, we're fairly well prepared, but, we're going to run out of certain things, and we're just going to have to make do, unless we want to, break our rule of thumb of only going out once every 2 weeks. So hopefully we won't even have to do that. Hopefully we'll be able to order everything in that we're going to need and do without, other things that we really like to have, but we don't actually have to have. So we might all have to start thinking along those lines after a point here. Depends on how this spreads, and if the president gets his way, he's just going to reopen the country and tell everybody to go back to work, which is dumb, but, he's not playing with a full deck. So there you go. They should have gotten rid of him when they had the chance, and then we might have had somebody else in place that could have actually shepherded us through this in a more appropriate way. But instead, he's not doing anything, and he just wants us all just basically to go on with our lives and forget all about it like it's not even there. Well, we can't. So, not going to be able to listen to him. Moon's in the 11th house Aries right now. Look for new ways to interact with others during the quarantine. Let's see, a conjunct with Chiron between the moon and Chiron. Chiron's the wounded healer planet and or planetary body. And this can be a time for healing, watch for synchronicities. And I don't just mean healing from a virus. I mean healing spiritually as well. We have to really take a look at where we've been the last few years and understand that because of all of that's gone on, we're not ready for this. Our relationships are in tatters, and we need to find a way back to one another so that we survive this, because clearly the federal government is not going to be there for us at all. They're going to try to be forced to be, I'm sure, by the Democrats, but they're not. The Republicans have their way. We get nothing. We're just going to fund the cruise lines and the hotels and the resorts so, the president can make sure he stays afloat. Yeah. Sun, 11th house Aries, again, we just did that. Mercury, 11th house Pisces. I got to start scrolling so I don't repeat myself. Intuition is strong today, but explore, again, interactions with others online, over the phone, by Skype, whatever you got to do. Keep your distance, 6 feet at least, and wear protection. If you don't have a surgical mask, make one. I don't care if you have to tie a bandana around your face. Roll it up. That's what my husband's doing. Roll it up so you've got layers over your nose and mouth, and then tie it on. I've made some masks. I've crocheted some. I've sewn some out of just some, swatches I was using for Mojo bags. So I took my Mojo bag supply, some of it anyway, and I've made. He won't wear those, but he'll just wear the bandanas. But you have to take precautions. We're wearing gloves to go get the mail. Spraying everything down with an alcohol or bleach solution, usually an alcohol solution, but just trying to do whatever we can. Everything we touch, we spray first. The mailbox, the freight box, everything. We're taking precautions, and everyone needs to do that right now. Mars, ninth house Capricorn. This is a time for individual study and expansion of how you're going to deal with all of this. We don't know how long it's going to last. Could last a while. It could be over in 6 weeks. We don't know. If we were all to hunker down collectively here, we could do a lot in terms of getting rid of this. But we're going to have the will to do it, and it's probably going to be up to the governors to impose it. So since the federal government's left us on our own here. Mars conjunct Jupiter. Gain information and use it to protect yourself and others now. Use it to benefit everyone, not just a chosen few, who are rich and are billionaires, but everyone needs protection now. Strategic thinking is required. There's still a conjunct between Mars and Pluto, so definitely be strategic in your thinking. Don't take risks. Don't take chances. Stay home. Socially distance. I see everybody out walking around and jogging and doing all of that. Well, I don't know. That doesn't look really safe to me. People are too close. They're not maintaining 6 feet different distance when you're running by someone. I don't know. We want to stay in our regular lives, don't we? But we can't right now. We just need to know that. Jupiter, 9th house Capricorn, again, expand horizons, enroll in a course, maybe online. You could do that. But right now, we're reassessing what life's meaning is all about. What do we mean to each other? What does all of this mean to us personally? And what is our perception about this collective experience we're sharing? Conjunct Pluto, between Jupiter and Pluto, we have the resolve to accomplish anything we like. This has been in the astrology chart for a while now. Use the power for good, though, instead of for only personal goals. This is something that the administration doesn't understand because they're too self-dealing. They don't understand that they cannot run the business as a personal slush fund for the president and his cronies. That's not what this is. This is the United States of America, not his personal slush fund. But that's what happened when he got elected. So anyway, some of us knew, others didn't. I hope you do now. Saturn in the 9th house in Aquarius. Again, we're seeing a lot of this, a lot of 9th house activity here. Reassessment of beliefs and perceptions about things and values. Some of this needs to end. Square Uranus, this is weak, but again, it's reinforcing that it's a tense time right now. Uranus, 12th house Taurus, be open to change and new experiences, breaking free from old patterns, and establishing new ones. The semi-square with Neptune is still in effect. Medium influence still, guard against deception or the long-played con. We know what that is now, that it's the President of the United States and the people in his administration, that they're the ones deceiving and conning all of us. So again, some of us knew this before the election was over, and didn't vote for him, but others believed him, and now we are where we are. So we're going to have to reassess this now and understand that this cannot be the man that we reelect. Okay, he just can't be. I'm not sure he's going to last that long anyway. So he does not appear like he's even playing with a full deck, or that he's even connected to reality anymore. Because nobody in their right mind would do this, what he's trying to do. No one would. Something's gone, something's missing, and he needs to be removed so that we have somebody in there that can make better decisions than what he wants to make, so that we all survive this. That's all we're trying to do here, is survive. We'll deal with business later. Right now, we just need to survive. So new directions are taken. Sextile North Node, trine South Node with Uranus. Still, change is happening all the time. Things are so fluid right now. We can set a new course and we can head out on it, and nothing's going to stop us. And it shouldn't. Neptune, still where it is 11th house Pisces. Try to look for spirituality within relationships right now. We're really in a spiritual moment. We're really in a transcendent moment where we can figure out that we can be informed by spirit, or we can be informed by the ego in the White House. And we need to figure out which we want. Do we want to survive this or not? Lilith, 11th house Aries, now in the 11th house. Interactions with others need to be tempered with grace today. We may feel like taking the bait. We may feel like blaming all kinds of our friends or our family if things are getting dicey in the house. Take a moment and remember that you love one another. Remember that we're in this together, and we're going to get through it. We are. We will. It's not going to be easy for some people, especially if you get sick, but we're going to get through it one way or another. Chiron has moved into the 11th house of Aries. The space may now open to heal others. You know, here's the thing that's happening online right now. A lot of people are setting up these little online parties where they're getting together, or they're coming out on Twitter. One guy, he lives in Southern Oregon, a veteran. He came out and said, "Listen, if anyone wants to talk to me, just hit me up, and I'm here. I'm this is who I am, and I'm just, if I want to hear how you're doing and all of that, just tell me where you are, so we can kind of get something going." And I haven't looked to see if he responded to me yet, but I said something to him. I think you're going to start to see a lot of that right now. There's an artist who's getting together. I don't know his name. Rachel Maddow talked about him last night, where he's doing an art class once a day for kids. He's a famous artist, I guess. Anyway, it's art time, I guess, with I can't think of his name. But anyway, lots of things like this are springing up so that we can find a way to help one another and be there for one another. So again, this could be an extraordinarily profound time spiritually for all of us, no matter what happens, no matter how this turns out. And I really think that a reassessment of values and also a reassessment of shared purpose is in order. So I think that that's it on the astrology. Yeah, that's it. The only other thing, Chiron square the north and south nodes. Values are being questioned, hidden meaning is now sought, and let go of emotional past hurts and move more positively into the future, because that's what we have to do now. So anyhow, let me have a drink of tea. Let's go ahead, and if this is your first time here, welcome. I go ahead and I do the astrology to start, and then we're going to go ahead now and do 3 cards. I'm going to do them randomly, take the 13th one each time. Normally I don't, but for this I do. And then when I'm done with that, we'll decide if we need any more cards. And then I'll take a rune, if I can find my rune bag. There it is. I'll take a rune from the rune bag and from the Elder Futhark, and then we'll look at that. And we will close out then from there with Geomancy rune. So if you've not seen that before, you can always check out my blog over there at Stepping Aside. I'm steppingaside.com. Monthly, we're coming up on a new month here, so there'll be a new one for April, but I do a monthly geomancy report, and I also do a monthly tarot reading also at the beginning of every month. Weekly, I do esoteric influences. It used to be called the weekly Rune and Moon, but now it's called esoteric influences. That's over there on the blog. And then I also write over on Patreon. I have a Patreon account. You can check stuff out over there. And then also I have I write on Medium. Sometimes I just post stuff I write on my blog over there, but sometimes I just write there. And so you can check me out over there too, the stuff I write. But this is going to be an interesting time. I don't know. We're kind of used to isolation. My husband and I are sort of introverts in that regard. And so we've sort of been in self-isolation for about the last 7 years. So I don't know. We only go out when we need to, and we hunker. We have 5 acres, so I mean we can stay really busy here. And so my husband's going to fix the tractor now, so this is going to give him something to do, and more than what he already has to do. So anyway, this is going to be interesting. So let's go ahead and take a look at the first 3 cards. Oops, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13, if I don't drop them on the floor, which I do sometimes. Knight of Pentacles. Yep, home and hearth. All being threatened by this virus and the choices of the federal government. But he's looking toward the future and taking care of things, so hopefully there's enough of us that are able to do that. And in spite of, the federal government and their lack of action and their focus only on themselves and what money is going to go in their pockets. Yeah, that's what we have now. Instead of people that, had Hillary been there, then we would have been on this a lot sooner, and things would have been happening a lot sooner. And if Barack Obama had been in there, I mean, we definitely would have been. So I mean, he already proved how he handles pandemics. And so I think that Yeah, this is an interesting time. It's really on our own personal resolve now, isn't it? And I think the Knight of Pentacles shows us that. We're waiting for a savior to ride in on his white horse. That isn't happening. It's got to come from us. We have to be the saviors on the white horse. We have the Fool. Card 0. Wholeness, unity. Before the leap. Through the abyss into form. Undeveloped potential. This is becoming a positive reading, isn't it? I really think that this is we're in a 22 year, so, soul is coming in and shifting everything around and saying, we're going to do this differently. We have no time left. Ascension is here. We need to ascend now. It's time. And we need to understand who we are as the Creator personified. We need to understand that we are one, even though we might appear like it here. We really are, because the here of it is because we all focus in to create the here of it. We focus in to create our bodies. We focus each aspect of the Creator is doing that. So overall, it's the Creator focusing in and creating all of this, because the Creator is all that is. So all these petty little differences that we have here, no matter how big they seem, they aren't in the broader scheme of things. From the soul's perspective, it's like, okay, all right, too much focus on the ego. Remember me? Remember who you really are? Remember the self, the true self? See, the Fool takes the leap, and maybe the Fool forgets. Maybe the Fool chooses to forget and wants that level of experience where they're cut off from their awareness of source. But I suspect that some of that was only supposed to be temporary. We were supposed to remember at some point who we really are. We don't learn our isms from the soul. We learn them from watching our parents and watching TV and watching friends and growing up around it, those types of restrictive, narrow-minded attitudes. They don't come from the soul. They don't come from spirit. They don't come from source. They don't come from the Creator. Here we need to heal our mind today. Let our thoughts rest. Things have been crazy, right? And we don't know what's going on. So it's time to just heal our mind and take some respite. The 4 is contained within the earth element, and the pentagram or suit of pentacles is the earth, reflects the earth element and our physical presence in life. And here, as you can see, he's looking out over the land. He's coming with an offering. So maybe the masks and the ventilators will show up somewhere by someone, clearly not from whatever national stockpile we should have. Is it gone? Did he sell it off? What happened to it? Where is it? Well, let's talk about this a little bit. We have the undeveloped potential now to do anything. We saw that in the Chiron. Let's see. Also, was there Pluto? Yeah, Pluto. Oh, here we go. Jupiter at conjunct Pluto. We have the resolve to accomplish anything we like. It needs to be on behalf of the people, so that the people survive, not the corporations. That they will handle themselves, but the people need to survive this. And it's just easier if the federal government would act, but that's not going to happen. So, not unless Congress is able to do something here, and it doesn't look like the Republicans want to cooperate with anything other than putting money in the hands of the president so he can control the slush fund, the $500 billion slush fund they want to hand off to him. But here you have the Fool ready to take the leap. You see the sun above. You see the vitality of spirit. You see purity in his left hand with the white rose. His dog's at his side, his knapsack over his shoulder. He's ready to make the leap of faith. Back in college, I took a philosophy course, and it was on Kierkegaard, actually. And we weren't just reading Kierkegaard; we were reading Lessing as well. And he did a thing. It was called Lessing's Leap of Faith. And basically, what it was is it's describing the leap of faith we take when we embark on something new. Mostly, it was mostly in terms of spirit we were talking about, spiritual kinds of things, but it's that leap of faith into life. And basically, he was describing the Fool from the tarot. We begin in unity, we begin in wholeness. And only when we take that leap do we fragment into ego and the different levels of ego that we go through. But make no mistake about it, if spirit is not informing at every given second, things here get interesting, don't they? They really, really do. So, but here he's looking out over the expanse, offering a new way forward, a new foundation, or alerting us maybe to a new foundation. I feel better though if it was the Page of Pentacles, then I could say he was alerting, because they're usually the ones that give a message. But here he's ready to go with it. He has a plan. My God, he's Elizabeth Warren. I'm a Warren supporter, so I'm devastated that it's not her. But go, Joe, go. I'm for Joe. No, I like Joe Biden. I mean, he is who he is, right? What you see is what you get. So there's not a lot of subterfuge there with him. He's just the guy next door, really, from Scranton. I mean that's who he is. So apparently his wife is too. Isn't she cool? Boy, oh boy, Jill Biden, she's amazing. Don't get next to her husband if you're up on the stage when you shouldn't be. She'll come for you. I do the same thing. We're both martial artists. We're both black belts. And I don't know why. I've always done this my whole life. I run to danger. So if there's a knock at the door at our hotel room door and it doesn't sound right, it's weird, it's somebody trying to get in our room, right? I'll be the one at the door. Jerry will be standing me going, what are you doing? I'm going to be at the door going, So when I saw Jill Biden go after that one person, that lady that came after him up onto the stage, my husband and I are looking at each other, and he's like, she's a scrapper. But here we're going to heal our mind and let our thoughts come to rest. We're experiencing a lot of fear right now. We're also, I was just overtaken yesterday by and I'll just share this because I think that it really, not everybody's going to see what's happening now in the proper light. The Lieutenant Governor, Dan Patrick of Texas, was interviewed yesterday. I don't know if you saw this, but he basically is suggesting that old people like me need to just go ahead and sacrifice themselves for the economy. And we need to, in other words, we all need to go back to work. And if people get sick, oh well. And if seniors die, oh well, because they really just need to be willing to sacrifice themselves for the economy and for their grandchildren's future. As if this is the only way to do it, right? So we're going to go there. We're going to go ahead and talk about allowing people to die. Doctors are already are faced with that in Italy right now. They're not giving ventilators to anybody either over 60 or 70. It was 70, maybe it's 60 now. So if I were sick in Italy and I needed a vent, I would die because I wouldn't get one. My husband wouldn't either. And now we have a lieutenant governor of a state that seems to think that that's also a proper solution. Well, either he's lost his mind and he's completely out of his mind with fear and worry, and he's not thinking straight, and it just came out, and oh my God, upon rethinking it, he doesn't mean it. I'll bet that's not going to happen though. And so then when you see the President of the United States say, yeah, we're, in what is it, less than 2 weeks now, we're going to all go back to work. And we're going to, we don't have any masks. We don't have any gloves. We don't have the things we need to go back to work with, right? But we're just supposed to go back to work. But the effect of that is more people will die. So are they trying to kill off the older population? See, something about this just does not make sense. No other country has responded this way to its people. No other country. Why is he doing this? I think Dan Patrick told us last night. So I'm going to need to take time. And when I saw that, I just sat. I couldn't even tell my husband. I had to wait for a while before I could say what I just saw. And I'm going to tell you, when you look at what's going on in light of what that man said, suddenly things start falling into place. So I don't know what's going on here, but something isn't right. And the cards have been saying it. And I mean, we've got Uranus, semi-square Neptune, guard against deception or the long played con. It's ridiculous that we have to wade through this kind of stuff right now. Now, I know that this, whatever the lieutenant governor was talking about, that isn't going to happen. I know that there are going to be cooler heads that are going to come in and they're going to deal with this once it gets to that point, but we should have never gotten to that point. That's the whole reason that people are standing around going, what's going on now? Seriously, what is going on and why? What is behind this? Because there is no reason why we shouldn't have been able to be out in front of this. We saw what other countries were dealing with. We should have locked everything down right then. Give it a month, let the government pay the bills. We'd be in a very different position right now had we done that. That's all we have to do. That's all we have to do. But instead, Florida doesn't lock it down during spring break. The contagion went everywhere. You see what I'm saying? Something doesn't make sense here. The decisions that are being made right now make no sense until you heard what Dan Patrick said yesterday. It's like, oh, really? You think that's a solution? Well, what other nutty things are you all thinking? You see, that's what I'm saying here. If they're going to think like that, what else are they thinking? And when you look at all the things that are not happening that the federal government would normally be doing, because that's the truth, the federal government would normally be doing something right now, and they're not. It's on us, folks. It really is. We need to think. We need to strategize. There was another one here about strategic thinking, wasn't there? Was it a Mars one? Yeah, Mars conjunct Pluto. Again, Pluto, strategic thinking is required now. We're going to have to sit and think now. Heal our thoughts, heal our mind, let everything come to center and figure out a way forward here. You know, again, a lot of people are coming up with a lot of great ideas of how we get through this moment together. Remember, you know, what it was. I mean, I remember when Katrina hit and folks down in the 9th Ward down there in Louisiana, in New Orleans in the 9th Ward, you had people bringing food over to this one woman's house. Some of it was cooked, pots. As she was being interviewed, people were coming. And people were collecting at her house because it was still roughly intact. It was pretty high up off the ground. I mean, she had damage below, but people could get in there. People could get into her backyard. It wasn't so damaged. I think where she was just in the perfect spot or something, and so the waters really didn't hurt her too badly. I mean, they came up on the yard, the front yard, but that was pretty much it. A little bit in her basement. Everybody was collecting at her house. And they were bringing food over and they were cooking and they were doing whatever they were doing there at her place. And so you had this community of people, this little neighborhood of people that were still home and hadn't evacuated, that were trying to stick it out because they really didn't have any place to go. Nobody was coming to get them. And so they developed this thing on their own. And I realized, you know, they didn't have social distancing to worry about. And we do. But there's ways to do this. If you have more than you need and you know your neighbor doesn't, maybe you go out, you protect yourself, you leave it on their porch. Knock on the door and leave. Let them come out when you're gone and get whatever you brought them. This is a time for us to come together in shared purpose because it's going to take all of us to get through this. It will. And we can't let go of one another. We just can't. We have to stay in shared purpose. We have to stay in unity. We have to understand that when we see another, it's the other side of self and not the enemy. Whatever issues we've had together over the last few years, we need to let them go and come back in shared purpose with one another, and together we will get through all of this. Laguz is the rune for today. Let's see, is Laguz the 21st or 19th? What is it? 21st. So it's a 3 energy. It's catalytic, but it's flowing. Laguz is really about flow. It's about flowing together in spirit, about getting into that energy stream and staying there with one another, expressing love and support and compassion and empathy and concern over other people. That's Laguz. So again, it's all dovetailing, isn't it, toward expressions of shared purpose and coming together in unity and love with one another. Let's do the geomancy rune. I'm going to throw the 4 runes down. I'm going to put them in the order of fire, air, water, and earth. And so I have Laetitia, or joy. I'll show you what that looks like. Did I do that right? Yeah. When you're dealing in dots and then you have to write them down. See, I had 1 for fire, and there's the glyph for fire. I had 2 for air, and then you know it's air because air is on the other side. And so 2 for water and 2 for earth. So you have Laetitia, or joy. It's remaining in the state of grace with others. There was something about Lilith here, 11th house, Aries, I think it was, about remaining in the state of grace with others. Yeah, the interactions with others need to be tempered with grace. Again, we have a chance today and going forward of reconnecting on a spiritual level with one another. I know that it seems wooey to say that at a time when we're just all trying to survive, but when you see, and I think this was in Spain, there was a video clip of the police coming into a neighborhood, you know, everything, the buildings are tall and they've got the narrow streets and whatnot. You see them coming in, there's, I don't know, 2 or 3 police cars. Cops get out. You see a guitar in one of their hands. I don't know what's in the rest of them because I was just fixated on that guy. They're serenading everybody, and they're singing to everybody, and I mean, you have, this is happening in all over the place, where people that live in these high rises, you know, they're in their places, right? Maybe they come out on their balconies and they're singing and they're working out. Some people are working out. There was a couple of women that got married in New York City. I think it was in New York City, and it got filmed. There was a preacher in a of some kind, I don't know what he was, up above, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 stories up, hanging out of a window, doing the ceremony for them. And I mean, you're seeing amazing things happening now. You really are. And people are caring about one another. And that's what we need. And that's what's going to get us through this. Again, when we get on the other side of this, you know, it's like when 9/11 happened, we were all New Yorkers. Well, now that COVID is happening, we're all humanity and we're all one family. And that's what we've always been, even though we forget it. It's what we've always been. It's collectively what we are when we're not in these bodies. Our souls are one, they merge, they interact, they simply are with one another, and they rest with one another. And that's what we need to do now. And going forward in this incredible time of ascension where the planet is ascending to a higher dimension or density of experience, the same with all of us. As our souls transcend into greater heights, we're going to use this time to inform all of that. and understand that we're stronger together than we have ever been apart. So thank you so much for watching here. I think that's it. I think I'm done. And check out the blog. The correspondences are going to go up for today here pretty soon. This astrological information was for about 9:20 this morning. The one I always do on the blog is for noon each day. And check that out. Check out the esoteric influences for the week over there. There's, I don't know what all I said I wrote yesterday. Yeah, there was a candle magic for healing over on, I think on Medium. Yeah, I think I did that one over on Medium. Let's see, there's, what else is over there? Oh, there's various things over on Medium. Also on Patreon, check that out if you want to. Go over there. Some of that stuff is, most of it is public. Some of it is patron-based. And so if you want to sign up for, yeah, I don't have a tier level set. You just pay whatever you want to. You can do it for the year or monthly, or just do a month's worth, and, you know, however you want to do it. If you want to look at the stuff I write over there on Patreon. But otherwise, I guess that's it. We'll see you tomorrow. Come back, and we'll share this time again together, and we'll take a look at at what the astrology says, and what the divination says. It all seems to align together. We're taking a leap into the unknown right now, and we need to do it together and in shared purpose. And so with that, I'll close and say, be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.